the title of this podcast again, Shadow?
It's talking about the Bible.
We're talking about the Bible. What about the Bible are we talking about?
Why is this such a hard topic to talk about? Why is it so challenging?
Why
Why
is
do
it
you
such a
even
hard topic to talk
why do you
about?
own one? The way you even hold it looks creepy.
Because it's a grimoire, so why wouldn't I
It's
have it? What do you
a
mean?
grimoire. What you mean by grimoire?
This is the biggest book of spells ever made. Do you not know who I am?
That's the Bible.
Yes,
What
the book of
what does the
spells.
what does the Bible have to do with spells?
Oh, there's so many in here, and there's so many ways to activate different spirits and call different spirits by utilizing what's written in this grimoire. It's
No,
not
that's
the
my
full one though. This is a partial grimoire that they, give out to the public. I have the other ones as well.
that's my religious
So,
text. That's we don't call that in Christianity grimoire. It's devilish talk.
well, this is definitely a grimoire.
Mm.
It also says, lean not to thine own understanding.
I think you're misinterpreting that text.
No, you're misinterpreting it. Lean not into thine own understanding. I'm giving you the facts of what it is.
It's not how I was taught. That's not how I was raised.
Because you're leaning to
Sounds
your
like
own
sounds,
understanding.
sounds like witchcraft.
I seen a video that a lady said, if you are a Christian or if you are, in any diaspora that love Jesus, you should get rid of every aspect of witchcraft that's in your home. But my whole thing was just like, y'all not gonna get rid of y'all Bible. So why would you get rid of every aspect of witchcraft? You're not gonna get rid of the ushers, because that's also rooted in witchcraft.
How?
Because you're ushering spirits into a seat. You are moving them about a temple.
How could you call my Bible a book of spells and witchcraft? What is in the Bible that insinuates anything that you've just said?
Have you not read the book of Ezekiel that it talks about stones, making sure that his protective plate was made of onyx? Did you not read that? It should also be adorned with amethyst, jade, all those crystals that are in here in Ezekiel. Did nobody read that? Do we need?
I need scripture. I need scripture.
Because I'm like,
What you say?
they
Oh,
it's
this is a
here.
Bible app. Hold on.
You said you have a Bible app.
That's why I take all my notes on.
Mm. But then you can also activate like your psychic awareness with Ezekiel 1:1. As I was in the rivers of Shabar, I seen visions of Elohim and the heavens opened up. That's to activate psychic awareness.
Psychical what?
Psychic awareness. Your points, one of your points to get you to consciousness, to open up.
Talking
That's
about
one
Jesus
thing that
consciousness.
prophets use.
Talking about Jesus
Godlike
consciousness.
consciousness, yes. Godlike consciousness, yes.
I said it right. I said Jesus consciousness.
Godlike consciousness, yes.
What's the difference? Saying the
Did
same
y'all
thing.
forget that there was no such thing as a J back when they proclaimed Jesus?
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeshua.
Yeah.
I'm slipping. I'm slipping.
Because I'm like, that wasn't his name. The book of Genesis is full of love spells.
No, I did not know
I'm
that.
just saying.
So you saying these spells. You keep
Mm-hmm.
calling this book a book of spells. But why wasn't I taught that this is a book of spells?
There's two reasons, two attributes of why you were not taught that this is a book of spells. Number one, it could have just solely been rooted in ignorance because people didn't know. And number two, it was actually kept from you because the book was utilized as a means of control. So there's a difference. Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to tell me that religion was used to disarm us?
Well, yeah, they've utilized a lot of these things in here to disarm you instead of arming you, and that's why they took the Book of Enoch out of here.
The book of Enoch.
Well, and they talk a lot about altars, right? Don't have an altar in your house. You shouldn't have an altar. It's demonic. It's not of God. It's not of Christ. But here, in Ezekiel 20:24, an altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and thou shalt sacrifice therein thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, and thy sheep, and thine oxtail, in places where I record my name. I will come into thee and bless thee. God told you to make an altar right here. Mm-hmm.
Not supposed to take that literal.
Why not? Because it's in the Bible, so I should not take it literally.
Because you're not supposed to take everything in every story in the Bible literal.
Wait, you just said story.
Yeah.
I need you to expound on that. What do you mean story? These are events. Just like the burning bush. These are events. So where did you get the term story from?
I heard it in vacation Bible school that there were stories, not actual events.
So these are not stories. These were events that happened. Just like technically the 10 commandments, there was actually the 44 Kemetic laws is what they actually were. And they just picked and chose what the narrative, of course. But if anybody read the book of Enoch, they would know that. So they're not stories. These are factual things that were composited and put together.
So the book of Enoch was missing from the Bible. Then how will we know any of this?
What do you mean? The Bible literally, it talks about the oil lamp. It talks about the ephod. It talks about the precious stones. So where everybody keeps saying, get rid of your stones and your crystals, it talks about that. It's right here.
They say,
and thou shalt take 2 onyx stone and grave them in the names of the children of Israel. 2 stones. Why would you take a stone, onyx to be specific, and engrave names? Because they wanted protection. I mean, I'm just saying.
How did we make that? How did we turn this demonic? What did this part of the Bible become demonic?
I mean, what's demonic about this part of the Bible when it's clearly telling you about protection and to utilize the stones?
But they just told me to throw away my crystals.
Bluetooth is connecting.
But Exodus 28 will tell you about your crystals.
So this sounds
and
like
how your protection should be laced and lined.
Oh, it sounds like a contradiction. It sounds like someone is preaching from their own ideology and not actually the truth. And it sounds like I am being misled.
People that don't read for themselves, unfortunately, have a cognitive dissonance, and it does not allow them to expound on the truth or expound on things further than what's been told to them. There is a reason while they want the pastor to lead the sheep, the flock. Because what do sheep do? Follow what you tell them to do. Because when you have somebody that reads for themselves, like Moa, who grew up in the church, I was on the usher board, I was a praise dancer, I taught Sunday school, I taught Bible school for the little babies. I also, was I think I said praise and worship leader. I've actually taught sermons as well. When I grew up, the book of Psalms was always my favorite.
So, but about crystals? If we're
Mm-hmm.
praising crystals, are we praising God too?
They're from God, they're from the earth. These are
But
all naturally
that's
made
what
attributes.
anything but God.
But here's the aspect. You're not necessarily worshiping these crystals. These crystals are helping amplify, number one, your connection to the earth and to godlike consciousness, as well as protect you.
I don't need no protection. I am covered in the blood of Jesus.
Okay. If you are covered in the blood of Jesus, then I want you to go down to the south side of Chicago. Just walk. I want you to wear a red shirt, some red pants, and let's throw a little razzle dazzle out there with some green shoes. And just walk. You ain't got to say nothing to nobody. Just walk. Because you do a ritual every first Sunday. So I'm still trying to understand why this is taken aback for you.
But why would I test him? Why would I test my protection?
You test your protection every day that you walk outside your house. You go to the store and test your protection.
I don't know how long I could keep this up.
I'm just saying, I'm just being honest.
I'm breaking character right now. Oh fuck. Just for everybody, that's our satire. That's
We just
my
playing with the skit.
it was a skit. It was people looking at me like this motherfucker dumb. No, it's just more of a these are questions we get. These are questions I get in my comments. This is family members, friends. I get these repetitive what the fuck questions about what I practice, what I believe in, what's devil worshiping, what's considered godly like. I get this shit all the time. We was like, and we seen a video that crossed the line today of just this preacher and just telling everybody to throw away all their religious items and herbs and crystals. And the first thing I thought about was a crystal, a wedding ring is a crystal. So
Yes.
you telling
Yep.
these married women who need to be married under God to throw away their wedding rings as well? Like, are we being selective crystalline? Selective outrage, selective crystal. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about? What's the agenda?
But then let's go a little bit deeper, right?
Right.
This prophetess or pastor also had on pants in church bylaws as a woman, pulpit, pastor, any type of deacon. You are supposed to have on a skirt that is 3 inches below the knee. You should not be wearing pants as a woman in the pulpit. Really, they don't even want you wearing pants to church as a woman, but in the pulpit, that's a no-no. So are we being selective with attire as well?
This is new age spirituality. We don't go by that.
Well, even with new age spirituality, it's still rooted in something, isn't it? Because you're still doing your rituals every first Sunday. You didn't throw that out. You still utilizing olive oil to place on people's heads, the same way the medicine and the voodoo and the hoodoo women used to do to make sure that their children were safe as they was going out to the cotton fields. You still do that. You still place your hand over their head, aka their third eye, to speak life into them. So I change now. You still take a tablespoon of turpentine to get rid of that cold, like that medicine woman told your grandma to do.
I just feel so at home in church, like when they, I see the people fall out and catch the Holy Ghost, and I actually swear I see spirits being released. You gonna tell me that's fake?
Oh no, that's not fake at all. The only aspect is which spirits are they calling in? Because let's really put this in a very broad perspective. In church, they told us that there are three spirits, right? The three spirits, right? So if you only have three spirits, why is it that 10 people can catch the Holy Ghost at the same time?
Math ain't math.
Who are the other spirits then? What they didn't understand, shouting was a dance back in ancient Africa, not even necessarily a dance, but it was them being mounted by the Loa, by the Orisha, ancestors that would come and mount them. And they were excited and they danced. Just like they tell you voodoo is about evil, but voodoo is rooted in love and healing. But they're not ready for that conversation yet.
So medicine is considered witchcraft. What is it?
Yes. By the laws of the church, how we would perceive and take medicine would be considered witchcraft. Even though it's just good old down south herbalism and hoodoo, which again was still derived from voodoo.
How much is voodoo in the Bible?
It's throughout the entire Bible.
So how did this book become completely Christianity?
It was rewritten over and over and over again. And I wish I had my other Bible, but the other Bible that I have is about half of this, right? And it's what circles in the church. They took out a lot of the scriptures. They took them out. They were removed. This book particularly was basically copywritten. It was from the 1930s, but it was reprinted and redone in a different version in 2019. So there's so many different versions, right? Okay, of the Bible. There's so many different ones. And if you were to look up these ISBN numbers, they would tell you the different aspects of them. And not to mention a lot of the Livingstone Corporation, Tom Shoemaker and Ashley Taylor actually owned a porn company. So a lot of people didn't realize what was truly going on when they were reading the good book of the Bible.
No, you said porn.
Mm-hmm.
History.
Yes. At a period of time, the porn industry, and they actually may still own the Bible, they own the copyrights to the Bible.
You're trying to tell me a porn industry owns the copyrights to Jesus?
Basically.
They about to hate you. Hate you.
Honesty is key. I'm not here to lie to y'all. That's not in my human design, baby. I'm not here to lie to
Oh,
y'all.
oh, so why are we reading this book? So, what's the real book?
The real book is actually written on the wall in Egypt. There is a sacred wall that they don't want nobody to touch, especially if you melanated, because it translates everything that they stole and placed inside of a grimoire and continued to go on to think it was the grimoire of life. This wall was written on by family after family after family after family. It was all events that were passed down. But then, you came across a bunch of, beautiful storytellers that wanted to translate the aspects of things that were on the wall. And a lot of it they got wrong. But, we could sprinkle a little something here and sprinkle a little something there and, go from there.
So they didn't think the chosen one was gonna come back together and put it back together.
Absolutely.
Because we came back here with the consciousness to figure this kind of stuff out.
Absolutely.
There's always something off else about the church. It always bothered me when they did the heavenly hands with the white gloves. Why did I feel that way?
The heavenly hands with the white gloves. Yeah, you would feel off because the white gloves itself is rooted in racism.
Excuse me, come again?
Yes, the white gloves that you see the ushers wear, or a lot of chefs wear, is actually rooted in racism. So when they had slaves and they wanted to make sure that the quarters and things like that were clean, they would put on the white gloves to make sure that there was no dirt. However, whenever the slaves had to, enslaved, because is what they were, whenever the enslaved indigenous individuals, and I'm going to say that again, whenever the enslaved indigenous individuals had to serve the party of the immigrants, like Christopher Columbus and all of his people, they had to wear white gloves not to taint or get stuff dirty. So servants of the home had to wear white gloves. They had to have their hand behind their back because they wanted to make sure they were not stealing anything. So when you see an usher in the church with the white glove and the hand behind their back, ushering the souls to the pews, that was what the enslaved indigenous individuals did when the guests would come in for master. That's how they ushered them to the kitchen.
Sound like a cult. It sounds like a whole ritual cult. Is what you're describing church to be.
Our people could not practice the practices of the land because they were unalived, beaten, humiliated, dehumanized, ripped away from their families. Their tongues were cut out. If there was anyone beautiful, they were cut to make them ugly. The only thing that they could do to survive was to place their practice in something they could utilize in plain sight. What they don't tell you is that a lot of the enslaved individuals rose up against their masters, made them limp, made the wives barren. And you know how they did it? By reading verses in here. Let their children be fatherless and let them be vagabonds. Psalms 109. Y'all should take a look-see. Where they say the power of life and death is in the tongue. Yes, yes it is.
So church isn't nothing but a tax-free institution that is part of the matrix that help us mislead and leave us unprotected and unguided, and have us codependent on an entity that's not about to come back and save us.
Oh, no, honey, there's no one that's going to save you. And that actually says that in here. Did anybody read Revelations where it says, ye shall save themselves
I mean, you said because
in all damnation?
everybody says they're walking in the revelation.
Mm-mm. We are growing through a new shift of a new generation, a new elevation. The life that they knew it is ending. The life that we are aspiring to, the frequency that we are growing to, mark my words, 2027, it's going to be a huge difference, huge shift. Interesting. And then I turn to this page that actually speaks about calling all the Gentiles. Isaiah 65. I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. So you're not looking for anything. You are literally acting and moving in your purpose. And your spirit gonna come to you. But let's keep going. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread my hands all day to a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. People that provoketh me to anger continually try my face, that sacrifice in the gardens and burneth incense upon the altars of brick, which remain against the graves and the lodge and the monuments, which eat the swine flesh broth of abominable things in their vessels.
But
We're still talking about altars. We're talking about graveyards.
I can eat pork, though. It's in the Bible, so I can eat pork.
No, the Bible actually tells you that you shouldn't. Tells you that it's an unclean thing.
But everything touches is, he created the animals, so why can't I eat the animals?
According to their law, you're not supposed to eat the animal because it is a unclean meat. And that is because pigs were never necessarily designed to be consumed.
But our ancestors survived off of it.
Our ancestors survived off of boars. Pigs are descendants of boars because they killed off the boars and they had to mate with something. I.e., here comes a pig.
My grandma ain't gonna like that verse. She ain't gonna like this clip. Cause that's the number one thing she always throw at me when I was like, "I don't eat meat." And I try not to go there with her with religion, but she always brings it up. And I just look at grandma, and I try to get her to understand certain truths, but at the same time, it's not meant for them to. And what they going to believe, they're going to die on that. They're going to die on the cross with that.
Well, here's the aspect of that too, right? People need to understand, and I'm going to go back to the aspect of human design. Not everybody is meant to eat meat. That's just honest. But also not everybody is meant to be vegan either. There are families and tribes of the water. Their primary source of food and resources was fish, kelp, kale, creatures of the sea. But then, of course, as evolution took place, at that point, creatures of the land. The strongest animals on earth do not eat meat. But there was families that were hunters, gatherers, That's what they survived off of. Because the people that eat meat now only eat meat because the plants make it taste good. The families back then, didn't have that. Because that's what they survived off of. They was heart true and true. Because ain't nobody about to go bite no deer ass and say that it tastes good.
No, you don't like the flesh. You like what we did to it. You don't like meat.
You like the plants.
Like you don't like meat. You don't eat it raw.
Right. The hunters and the gatherers, they ate. I mean, even if they cooked it over a fire, they ate it properly, the way it's supposed to be consumed, the way that your body can understand and digest it. Because the moment that you have meat, which is a secondary protein, and you place protein, i.e. plants, onto a secondary protein, they're going to counteract and cancel each other out. So when it goes into your body doesn't know exactly what to absorb, i.e. you get high blood pressure because of the seasoning from the plants.
Kind of like the same thing with fruits and vegetables. Cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out.
Good to know.
So not everything, but it's just a little research, a little science, a little blood work would really tell you what your human design should be eating. Some people are meant to eat meat. They are. Some people are meant to eat plants and fruit. That's it. And the moment that they blur them lines is where you start to have these issues, gut issues, memory issues, skin issues. I know a lot of people don't realize that eczema, psoriasis, all of those are caused by internal inflammation from the shit that you eat. Because you ain't supposed to be eating meat. Or it could be dairy. But ain't nobody ready to hear that though, because they like their cereal.
Oh, and the babies, the eczema. It sound like all of us had eczema growing up. Was it the milk that they didn't give us? Because a lot of us tried to get breastfed, but they end up putting us on their poison system of, I'm sorry, Enfamil.
Yeah,
We're all
you
Enfamil,
said it
baby.
right.
No.
Enfamil, Similac, whatever little new hacks that they come out with now, baby, get you some oatmeal. Go on and get you some hemp seed. Go on and get your little sea moss. Blend it together, make some milk for your baby. It is a natural way to make milk if you cannot produce milk within your body here. It
But
is a
they tell us
natural
to
way to
use
make milk.
natural herbs. And didn't I just get told to throw this stuff out?
You did just get told to throw it out. Why? Because I'm gonna repeat the cognitive dissonance of themselves. They just not ready to break away from the lies that they've been fed the entire life. That is their identity is rooted in who they are. That's what they grew up as. That's whom they grew up as. So if you take away my Christianity, you take away my identity. Therefore, I don't know who I am or what to seek out to find out who I need to be. So why would I listen to you telling me that my great mama was lying? Because my great mama told me that 140,000 people's going to make it to heaven. I'm going to be one of them. Because only 140,000 people can make it in there. Just so you know. So we're actually in a competition, even though the Christian world has over 2.4 billion people. The youngest religion, but yes, the most influential religion. I'm going to repeat that. The youngest religion, but yet the most influential. And the only reason they got black folk on a chokehold is because they were beaten to submission of Christianity. And that runs through their blood, that runs through their veins, and they don't know no better. But every single thing that they do in the church is rooted in hoodoo.
So how do I utilize this book of spells now? Now, instead of me looking at it as a religious book and actually look at it for what it's actually supposed to be used for, where do I even begin?
Well, you can begin Matthew 7:7 so that you can open your roads and make sure that they're clear and the things that you ask for, you're able to get. That's the first thing that you can do. Matthew 7:7. Let me go on to it right quick and I'll read to you what it says. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. That's a road opener scripture, in case ain't nobody know that.
Road opener.
But then if you want to go ahead and add a little razzle dazzle, you want to, you know what I'm saying? You need a little money maybe after you do your road opener, you know? Wealth and riches are in his house, and his mercy shall endure forever. You know, that's in Psalms, you know. Because a lot of these verses also activate for you to be able to call spirits. But I don't think people know that either.
So now you're really going demonic now because you're talking about calling spirits. Like, what kind of spirits?
The upper and the lower key of Solomon.
Lower and...
This talisman here that's on my neck in the church would be considered demonic. But in my world are considered spirits of love, spirits of acquaintance, spirits of glory, and spirits of honor. But the only way that I can activate these spirits is if I say my Bible verse and ask for them to come to me.
I'm really just trying not to go to hell.
You're already there. And he set Cap down, hell on earth, when he cast out Lucifer. Did everybody miss that memo? Everybody missed it? Damn. People ain't never had an interview with people that have actually died and came back, like they have actually flatlined minute and came back. They ain't had no interview or talk to them with them. They ain't never, no.
So I'm here on hell. So why they tell me when I die I go to hell or I go to heaven?
Heaven is what you make it. Hell is here on earth. Cause where the other people gonna go if only 140,000 people could get in? We have 140,000 people that die every day. Where they going?
So what's the point of saying be a good guy, be a good person, read your Bible, try to walk in his image, just to only know that only 144 of us going to make, thousands going to make it? What am I doing this for?
You chose this life. Your design purpose, honey. You came here with free will. You chose to walk amongst the captives of the nation. This was all a choice. You designed this entire scheme, my love. But it is up to you to get back to where you need to be in order to become who you should be. There's always balance in this life. There are some people that came here just to create chaos. There's some people that came here to create love, light, peace, and joy. And there's some that came here because they needed to become a balance. They needed to be a neutral avenue and sway either way when necessary. Everybody got a choice. Now you can choose to not read your Bible. You can choose to do whatever it is that you want to, but you have to answer to you
I
as
feel
to why
like
you made those choices.
people that talk like you are leading me down a dark path.
Down a dark path, or do I turn on the light in the closet that you've been turning in a circle in for your entire life?
You talk a lot about
Do I need to
but
brighten that for you? Do I need to change it? What light do you want? What color do you want? Which way do you want it? Because either way it goes, it's giving you a whole new avenue of who you're supposed to be and who you are. But are you ready?
I think you make a lot of sense, but I just can't get past the demonic spirits.
Okay. So let's explain a demon, okay? What is your definition of a demon, as well as please show me the direct term in the Bible that says demon. Let me know where to turn where I can actually read the physical name demon.
Yeah, you trying to tell me the word demon is not in the Bible? Demonic spirit.
I'm just waiting for you to let me know where I could find that actual term. Talks about, Aaron. It talks about a lot of, spirits. Talks about, but where is the definition of a demon in the Bible? I mean,
I got
I see a Lepar. I see a Centurion. I see a lot of
you. Matthew
explanation.
chapter 8, verse 16.
I'm sorry, repeat that for me, love.
Matthew
Okay, let's
chapter
go
8,
to the
verse
book of
16.
Matthew. Now, are we talking about Matthew of the Old or the New Testament? Because I'm not
King
sure
James.
which Bible you have.
Yeah, I got my King James.
Mm.
Trust me.
But keep in mind, the King James Version, like I had told you, has been remade so many times. So, which version of this do you have? Because I got a Matthew in the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Let's go with the Old Testament.
And you said it was Matthew what? Because it used to be called Saint Matthew, but it's called It's Matthew where?
To verse 16. And there's another one, Matthew 17 through 18.
Okay. Ooh, one of my favorites. I actually believe I did a skit with 17 and 18 because we have death of John the Baptist and the transfiguration. And what verse specifically am I looking at? I'm in chapter 17.
Still coming.
Because I know a lot of people call the centurion a demon. because you can call on these centurions with certain seals and scriptures to bring them to you. But because they look a certain way, yeah. So even with chapter 8, verse 17, it might be fulfilled, which is spoken by Esaias, the prophet, saying himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness. I see Jesus curses 2 demoniacs. So again, I'm looking for the definition of a demon. I'm looking for what they describe to be a demon, because we have the explanation of Adam, we have the explanation of Eve, we got the explanation of the serpent, we got the angels that are in here, the fallen angels as well that you can call on, that they now consider it to be. We got all of that in here. So the devils besought him, saying, if thou cast us out, suffer us and go away, and herd of swine. But I do not see the avenue of demons. I'm sorry?
I said, what about any rebuking of any demons? I'm sure that's in the Bible.
I mean, you can cast out anything, including swine, a herd of swine. You can cast out anything. I'm just saying. Because even the Bible has questions, right? Where some of the disciples question him about fasting. But it's interesting, right? When Jesus had 12 disciples, there's 12 zodiacs. But we're going to keep going. So raises a dead girl and heals a bleeding woman. So by the attribution of the Holy Bible, Jesus would actually be a witch and a necromancer, which he would be considered demonic. So
Well, just like the
definition
of a fallen angel is a what?
Is a demon.
So they don't have any descriptions or definitions of a demon, if that is indeed one.
Indeed. I mean, we up here talking about a man that can turn water to wine, honey. Somebody who can raise the dead. He raised Lazarus. He also raised the girl. He also helped the lady with the issue of blood. He fed 40 people with just one fish. I mean, all she had to do was touch the hem of his garment. It sounded like healing to me.
No one said.
And if you are a woman that has an issue of blood, then you can drink some red clover and some raspberry leaf and add a little Damiana in there, and it will help you with that as well.
I don't think people are ready to hear about the zodiacs and the astrology version of the Bible.
Oh, no. Of course not. They're not ready to hear that part at all. But it's just the same spirits that you call upon to rain damnation onto people utilizes the same verses in this beautiful magical grimoire that they use to bless people.
Keep calling this Bible grimoire. I'm running out of questions.
I'm just saying, there's so many attributes and so many things that are just not known from the sheeple. And the reason why is because they only turn to the pages that are told to them. They're only listening to the words that are spoken to them. Because if you are ordained by God, why do you have to go to school to be a pastor, a preacher, a bishop? There's different avenues that you have to do in order to climb the spiritual ladder in a human vessel. But individuals like myself, who were born with 3 psychic points and 1 direct connection midhaven to God consciousness, I can tell you the exact same things that the preacher can tell you, but I can utilize it by looking at you, not reading it from somebody else's words. I can touch you and tell you what you need. I'm just saying.
Rich class.
I'm just, because coming up to the altar, giving your life to Christ, Jesus said to offer up a living sacrifice. You are dunking yourself in water to be born again. Nobody knows why. They used to do it in rivers, but also in African traditions, they also do those things in the river. So to separate them, they started to build these pools in the church. Because let's be clear, if you were every Sunday going out into the middle of the wilderness, drinking the body and blood of Christ, saying a specific prayer, because there's a specific incantation and prayer that you say while you are doing this ritual every first Sunday. If you were to take it out of the church and do it into a wide open field, they would call you a cult. But because it is in a structured foundational building that is funded by the government, that does not pay taxes, it's considered eating the body and blood of Christ. Why do you think they have an order of service of how they do these things? The sermon is always at the end. Why is the sermon always at the end? Because what are you going to remember when you walk out? The things that were said to you, the words that were repeated to you. Songs are high vibrational frequencies. A lot of Christians hate Franklin because he figured out the genome. He figured out the code to activate people's consciousness in his music. They say that he's too radical with his message. No, he's not radical. He understands the octaves that's going to open up your chakras to line you where you need to be lined at. If anybody ever listens to the undertones of his music, some of the words that are in his music, as well as the background. Like for me, I see music. So I see the layers. I can hear the layers of music. It's not just no bop. I can hear the layers of music. And I went back and listened to a lot of his songs. And I even made a playlist and was like, oh, he was on to something. Him, Fred Hammond, the Wayans brothers, they were on to something. And if you notice, they got pushed out of gospel music. They got pushed. So now if they make something, you may hear the head waves about it, but it's because they knew how to shift the frequencies of music as consciousness shifted. And them old school traditionalists didn't like it. Oh, listen at that. It's raining.
Well, we were born to sin.
What sin? Jesus died for your sin. What are you talking about?
Born sinner.
No, you were born with choices. Even in the Bible tells you that you are a free moral agent. You are a free moral. Let's take that word, moral agent. Your morals. What is
Why
it
do
that you are going to attune yourself to? What frequency are you going to vibrate on? Are you going to fulfill your life's purpose that you signed up for when you get here? Or are you going to take the other route? I'm going to repeat to y'all again. I've been going through my human design, my gene keys, all of that stuff all day today.
I just got
You
told
are a
wrong?
walking altar. You are a living, breathing altar.
So I don't need to get baptized.
What you mean you don't need to get baptized?
So according to you, I don't need to get baptized if I have no sin.
Well, I was telling you the reason for the baptism. You're being born again, right? Rebirth. That also falls into the sign of Scorpio, the number 13, rebirth, death and rebirth. Rebirth yourself. Become new. Become a new person. Take a new path. Walk a new way. Hymns, psalms, spiritual songs have high vibrational frequencies. Exactly. Mama Soundfire knows. That's one that knows. The Mixtures Maven. I love you, Auntie. She knows. All of those things have frequency in them. All of them. There's sirens in the church.
You want to know what's crazy about this specific podcast? My background ain't never been as loud when it came to airplanes or anything flying above my motherfucking head. But if you take a silence, it is like they're hovering right above my motherfucking head.
When I tell you it's pouring right now, I hear the rain beating on my window. I drove home. I had a 30-minute drive home. Went to pick up my son, came here, and we did this podcast. And when I tell you it's raining, when I get to talking about certain things, when I get to cleansing, when I get to giving information, it never fails that it rains. Never fails.
Like, it's air pressure and activity. Ever since I sat my ass down.
I'm just saying, a lot of people are not ready for this conversation. And again, people want to demonize the things that I say, but they don't realize I grew up in the church. I've been there. I was on every single activity in the church you could think. I even drove the church bus to pick up the children. I was in every single aspect and picked apart every single bit of it. And I was like, this is why we do this. This is why this makes sense. This was my favorite Bible verse, but when I use this Bible verse, I can actually call this particular key of Solomon, I can call that spirit to come to me and help me. There's so many things beyond this world that people are not willing to recognize. But the government, I'm going to repeat that, government has already admitted to this. The CIA has documentation. They've talked about the elevated consciousness and the higher frequency. They've talked about being able to literally ripple in time as a realm bridger. They've talked about these things.
Information is free and it's out there.
It is out there. Because if you want to keep people ignorant, baby, you got to put it in a book. Put it in a book. Because they ain't going to read it. They not going to read it.
For you to just tell me. Because that's too much.
They not going. I want to read that passage that I sent you from the book that I just read. What you think? Yes, definitely have seen A Wrinkle in Time from Disney. Oh, Whew. You think they're ready for that? Can I read that?
Go crazy.
I'm just saying.
They still here at this point.
They are still here. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on. So, this is the book that I'm talking about. It is called Almost There. Okay? This is the twisted tale from Princess and the Frog. Trust me, there's a lot of things that they're hiding in plain sight in these movies. Okay? Almost There, Twisted Tale by Farrah Rachan. As I was reading this book, I came upon a chapter, and I was so enthralled with the information that was in here. And I just want to read it to y'all right quick. Because if you've seen Princess and the Frog, you know all about Dr. Phew Chiiillllleee. Basically, this book highlights in detail if Tiana would have taken Dr. Phew Chiiilllee's deal. Now, I'm not going to give the book away because it was freaking phenomenal. I'm not going to give it away, but I just want to read this part. I fussed at you because of the rabbit hole that I'm about to be in with all of the books, okay? So, this is just what she says. I just want to get it good. Okay, so there are powerful forces at play. Most are good and cause no harm, but there are others that seek to wreak havoc. Let's go back to the first thing that I said. Some are here to incite chaos, right? Unfortunately, Phew Chiiillllleee chose to follow those forces, the ones that wreak havoc. And now he has dragged you in it. She pinched her lips together, a pensive look clouding her eyes. I knew that there was something sinister here from the moment that I arrived in New Orleans. It's Phew Chiiillllleee, Tiana said. People in the neighborhood always would warn us about the Shadow Man and his voodoo. Rosalind stopped her. Do not associate with Phew Chiiillllleee practices with voodoo. Voodoo delivers peace and goodness into the world. It offers healing to those who are sick and solace to those who are hurting. It is about bringing joy into the heart, not misery and despair. Never confuse that which Phew Chiiillllleee practices with the religion of my homeland. She let out a sigh. Phew Chiiillllleee could have done much good in the world if he had taken time to learn of our people, but he decided he wanted to go the easy way. She rubbed her thumbs and fingers together. Easy money. He wanted more than money, Tiana said. Yes, he wants power. Always has. Phew Chiiillllleee wants to control the city of New Orleans. And he believes that if he can control those in power, then in everything that he's ever wanted will fall into his lap. And that's where you come in. This author talked about the full homeland practices of voodoo, and let's be clear of the spelling, okay? Okay? VODOU. That's the spelling here. Yes, you guys will hear me say voodoo, voodoo, and voodoo because there are 3 different symmetries of it. Unfortunately, there's 3 different symmetries. Things had to change, things had to alter, but at the end of it all, it's rooted in love, peace, harmony. It is not evil. Even the aspect of a zombie is false. Scare tactics to keep you from things of original land. The Aboriginal people of this world have it in their bloodline. Now, even if your family, particularly your direct family, may not have practiced voodoo, or voodoo, the practice that they did use or utilize came from the root of the homeland. But they're not ready for that. And even a book that was from a children's movie is telling you more than these folk up here in this pulpit. Yep. I have Creole roots. My grandfather was from Louisiana. My grandmother was from Georgia. And that's just on my daddy's side. My mama was Puerto Rican. There's so many different dialects and diasporas that they want to destroy because it comes with peace, love, compassion. Because in order for you to reach the highest elevation of consciousness, for you to be able to reach the highest level of godlike consciousness and truly vibrate in the aspect and attribute of what you want, you got to start with love. You have to be at peace. You cannot have fear. All this 3D material wants, I need this, and this, to impress a person that don't even like you. Instead of having peace within yourself, you want to be in pieces trying to pay these bills. Baby, I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Come on now.
Keep you scared, keep you fearful. You don't see the fear tactics in religion. You want peace, you want happiness, you want tranquility. Does that give that to you? Always looking over your shoulder thinking something demonic's after you. Something trying to take your spirit, something trying to take your soul. Do this, do that, do that. Always operating in the conscience of fear to keep coming back every Sunday. Like a hamster wheel, like a 9 to 5. I need you to give me your energy every Sunday. Keep this going. Oh yeah, pay your tax too. Because I need the frequency of money to keep circulating.
Yeah.
Hamster wheel.
The biggest scam known to man is the building fund. Because we already in a church building, so what we building?
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you this. I went to a church, and when I tell you we was paying tithes, offering, and building fund from the time that I was 5, I think until like the time that I was 17. And this was right around that time if you guys have seen my video where that prophetess, she kept saying, oh, this organist, this your husband, this your husband, this your husband. This who you supposed to marry, young lady. This is your husband. This is your husband. In all of that time, they built one addition over to the church, right? But was still collecting building fund. Now keep in mind, this is not a small church. Congregation of at least 250 people. And that was when the building was smaller. Of course, think about when they expounded and people had babies and stuff like that and brought their family members. Even guests had an envelope to be able to contribute. If you didn't even go to that church, had an envelope to contribute to the building fund. Well, what else you building? We got the other part. What more we doing? It's raining.
I need to build it.
But here's the aspect. Churches don't pay taxes.
Never did.
They are tax exempt. They do not pay taxes. I was also the church treasurer. Churches don't pay taxes. They're tax exempt. That love offer went to the pastor and his new Bentley.
I'm like, what you paying on? You paying on the building? Can't ask those kind of questions, though.
501c3, that's right.
Can't ask those kind of questions.
Right.
Talking too much. You too nosy. You too smart.
Ain't my part. You put me in every single position in the church that could be in now.
people ain't gonna like this one.
I'm not responsible for triggering their trigger. Those are things that they have to heal within themselves.
Goal was to educate.
Mama Sunfire says she got kicked out the church for asking about the money. But wait, did you see the? Because you know it's going around where the church is sending folk to collections for not paying their tithes and offering.
Huh?
Yes. A lot of times now, in order for you to go from one church to the next church, you got to have a letter of recommendation from the pastor.
I've been out of church too long. What happened? Wow.
They is sending folks collection letters.
You ain't woke up yet? Wake the fuck up.
They are sending people collection letters, sweetheart, because you ain't paid your tithes and offering. There was another pastor who he went viral, if I'm not mistaken, that asked the lady, "Do you have a recommendation from your old pastor to be able to be a member of this church?" They ain't taking just anybody no more. Come as you are is no longer a thing, honey.
Like a secret society to me.
And it's crazy because a lot of the pastors are Freemasons, and the Freemasons practice Solomonic magic, which uses the Bible, but you're still calling down spirits.
Got a lot of those people coming at me lately. Join a temple. Join their brotherhood.
My grandmother wanted me to be an Eastern Star so bad. She was grooming the hell out of me. I went to every single debutante ball. All these big poofy ass dresses with them little fucking spit curls I had to wear on the side of my hair. A certain aesthetic that I needed to have. Get somebody else to do it, Nana. I love you though.
If I had one more of you motherfuckers coming to me and trying to recruit me or some shit I already fucking know.
But hear me out. There are benefits to being a part of the Masons and the Eastern Stars. There's a lot of benefits. If you think about it, the Masons actually have their own cemetery, and it's actually located in New Orleans. Well, one of them is actually located in New Orleans. There's benefits. I don't know if I can say this. I probably can't say it because it's in my mind, but I got I'm just gonna say there's benefits. While living on this rock, there's some additional benefits to being a part of these secret societies. It is a touch not my anointed type of energy. So the government knows who not to target, who not to touch. Touch not my anointed is what I say.
I get that.
Like that's the best way I can say it without,
anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was on the other side of you, you'll be whooping my ass. I wouldn't have shit. I'd be over here like. At this point, I don't believe in shit.
You know what's interesting, and this is probably going to be very, very controversial because now you just brought it down and dropped it in my spirit. You know how generally atheists say that they don't believe in like a higher power, they don't believe in anything like that. But in theory, as we know, as we have come to know and grow, that the higher consciousness is inside of us, it's within us. So does that mean that they don't believe in themselves?
I don't know, because they got a lot of rooted in ego. A lot of them are very arrogant, very all-knowing. Gotta have some strong sense of self-worth, right?
You have to. Because I'm just like, that's interesting. I can 100%, okay, the hell, heaven, hell concept. I get that. I get that 100%. But you are still living, breathing, waking up, being able to do things on a daily basis. So if you're not believing in the core of your soul, does that mean that they're like the lost souls that was on a Disney movie soul that couldn't find their purpose? Were they really describing atheists? Oh, my bad. Yes.
Hey, no soul for 800.
Okay.
Go for NPC box 200.
Mm.
Trying to understand reality because you wasn't even created in his image. So you was created in his image. So you're trying to figure out what life is instead of knowing that life is in you, but you don't have life in you.
Mm. Interesting. Okay.
They all got a purpose.
So again, like
Because
those.
people are here to, you said some people are here to create chaos.
Yeah.
So why would that not be any different? Combating what you believe in, other people's theories in life, creating havoc.
And then what about the people that don't believe in duality? Where they believe everything is just love, light, butterflies, and glitter shit from a unicorn.
I don't know because I can't put myself in their mindset. In what world? I'm trying to even thinking when I was at my gulliblest, I still knew it was another side. I guess the fear. I guess my answer is just fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what would happen to me if I'm not walking the only light path I was taught.
It's like a lot of people for some reason think I'm a Pisces because of my tattoo. I'm not a Pisces, but it's the yin and the yang. And these, of course, are koi fish. Love, joy, peace, and happiness, right? Because things have to push and other things have to pull. There has to be a force to keep things going, to keep a flow of things. And if you notice, one of course is lighter, one is darker. Like you probably can't see it because of the glare of my ring light, but one of them has, the darker circle, the lighter circle. So the push, the pull, the up, the down, the left, the right, slow, the fast, everything has an action and reaction. There's always cause and effect. So it's interesting when I do hear people, oh, I only spread love and light, but you just killed a bug.
Like I said, fear.
You can't pick and choose the part of the life that you feel that you want to use. Balance and reality is in all of us. Because people that operate so much in one avenue get stalled.
I guess I would ask, well, how would you help people not fear the darkness? How would you help people not fear duality? Because it's based in fear.
It is. But here's the avenue of it. And this is another reason I absolutely love this tapestry, because moon represents what? Emotions, and moon also would represent darkness. But then you have the sun coming out. The moon is coming out of the sun. For therefore, there cannot be light without darkness. There has to be a contrast somewhere. There cannot be light without darkness. There cannot be darkness without light.
But if you spread light, that means you also want to spread darkness.
No, not at all. That just means that you are placing a highlight over the things that people may think are dark. That's just like some people don't like snakes. They think that snakes are demonic. They think serpents are evil, not realizing and recognizing that snakes are actually a representation of immortality, healing, fertility, love, health, abundance, prosperity.
My grandma hates this tattoo.
Because it's all rooted in fear. Because my thing is, people can't say, oh, I don't like darkness, but you close your eyes at night. Every night that you go to sleep, you enter into darkness. And you arise with light.
You were born out of darkness. Everything grows out of darkness.
You were born, exactly. Truth is in the darkness, yes.
I don't know how long this has been. I said I was going to check out the 45-minute mark. Well,
I know.
Past that.
I know. It's just a lot of things are rooted in projection and in fear. I'm going to say that again. A lot of things are rooted from projection and fear.
Fear not temptation, and deliver us from evil.
You know, one bedtime scripture I used to say until a spirit showed up at my bedside when I was 6 years old, that now that I lay me down to sleep, I ain't gonna repeat it. Yeah, I never taught my children that.
Yeah, Athena don't know that. My soul to keep. That's deep.
Very.
You know what you're saying.
Very. Exactly. Darkness can be many things. The fact that I got on a black bonnet and a black head wrap, you know what I'm saying? A black top can be considered the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, places, things, it's a concept.
We wore black at a funeral.
Which is interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Because in tradition and in ATRs, you wear white to invoke and to have purity and to deal with spirits, right? Why is it that they condition you to wear black at a funeral instead of white? I remember for my grandmother's funeral, though, they wanted us to wear white or silver. That's what they wanted us to wear. And the people at the church looked at us like we were crazy because they're like, no, we wear black to funerals.
Wear black. You know, why would you go against that? Tradition. No, please, talk freely.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just like, wait a minute. Why y'all getting mad that we want to wear white to the funeral?
See, when
Instead of black. Because why do they tell you that traditionally you need to wear white to a wedding? Too
White
deep?
gown, white dress.
White
No,
veil.
talk. Oh no, I'm listening because I don't know why you need to wear a white wedding dress. Because I
Well,
can
I
wear whatever
know Mama
I want.
Sunfire. Mm, Mama Sunfire made a beautiful that Bam once believes it was in racism. But she says she understands it different now. The color of psychology. Yep, exactly.
That's it.
So if you are burying the church mother, right? She's the martyr of the church. She was one of the anchors, right? Her soul was of purity. So why would you not wear white if white represents purity? Because that kind of blends in. Weddings and funerals, they actually blend together. When I was younger, they used to talk about marrying the bridegroom, that was your avenue of death, is when you married the bridegroom.
Makes sense because what after you do at the wedding? What do you do after a funeral? You go eat, right?
You are around or amongst other souls, right? Black repels, white absorbs.
But
So
why
why
would I wear?
wouldn't you wear? Why?
Why
Why
would I
wouldn't
wear?
you? Understand? Like,
But why would I wear white at a funeral if I don't want to absorb? I'm absorbing what?
but that's what I'm saying. If you're burying the church mother whose soul was of purity,
So you
that's
wear white
just like
at a funeral?
being a death doula. In certain sacred aspects of a death doula, we open a window as we usher, let me say that word again, as we usher the spirit onto its next journey. Candles lit. Some patients like patchouli. Some of them like lavender. Some of them like lang lang. As we use Palo Santo to transfer and transmute.
Someone said because the soul will recognize the color of darkness instead of the light.
But why would you want the soul to recognize the color of darkness if they go into heaven? There's a difference between the understanding of white light and black or darkness than colors. I agree. Because what's interesting too? I know, of course, now, but I never understood why my grandmother would never let me go to a candlelight visual.
What I know about him now, I'm like, damn. Speak on it. We here.
Are we here?
We here. We here. We chilling. I had 20
You are
plus of this
not.
rocking.
You are not supposed 20 plus, baby. I see 58.
That's yours. You ain't been on here a minute. They miss
I
you.
know I haven't been on here in a long time. um, it's confusion, and it does not allow the soul to take the journey it's supposed to take. A lot of people do not even recognize that they are no longer in their body until a year.
They take a year before you can
Time does not exist in a spiritual attribute. If you've ever had a past life regression via hypnosis, then you would 100% know and understand Spirits don't have a concept of time. There's a show that's called The Good Place. It's on Netflix. And they also, again, they put it in your face in plain sight. They put it in your face. Plain sight. But it's just up to you to decode it. No. This running out of time, this Peter Rabbit attribute, trying to time.
And then once you leave this motherfucker, you be like, damn, time really don't exist. Just have one psychedelic trip. You're gonna realize time don't fucking exist. Real motherfucking quick.
I think the entire Christian community needs to microdose.
Microdose. I'm just gonna drop it in the wine. Everybody.
I regress to the beginning of time. I saw the Megatron and the Void. Yep. Yep.
Wine and drop a microdose in there. Boop.
Sprinkle.
I about to all see something now.
Do you know as well, women, that your brain does chemically create a high level of DMT when you are experiencing birth? Of course, if you're not medicated, you can experience this really high elevation of dopamine. Being able to speak your child, telepathically, like being able to speak to them, asking your child what their name is instead of you just giving them some random shit.
You can do that, like doing while they're pregnant, right? Because I know a woman.
Yep, it is. Yeah, it's raining. I hear it. We're in the same state, Mama Somebody. It's raining for sure.
20 G's. She was pregnant. And that soul told her name, where she from, what she want to do when she get here. I already laid out the roadmap. It was like, yo, I'm coming here. This is my purpose. So now that you know my purpose, you ain't gonna fuck me up. Trying to fumble you already know who I am.
Yes.
You're not about to give me a name that doesn't belong to me. I'm not gonna allow it. I'm telling you right now, this is my name. This is where I'm from. I'm like, God damn. That was amazing. So she's saying that you gotta have that experience naturally. That's why they want to have you. That's why they want to sedate you so fucking bad. That's why they want you to have C-sections and surgeries, because they want to be able to control the life that comes into you and how it comes out, and what they put in you while that child is still in there. They was like, hell no. You think about the Matrix, they gotta plug you in every way, and that baby gonna come out when we say that baby come out. And we take your placenta.
That's another reason they want to get rid of doulas.
And we take your life.
Home birth so bad.
We taking your placenta.
Yep.
And then
any baby I've delivered, I'm like, nah, give me that placenta. Thank you. Oh, we gotta get. You don't need to get blood from nothing. Give it here.
I think you got to get a birth certificate. Here you go. Oh, this is your welcome to life. This is welcome to the Matrix birth certificate with that number. Here, you got to take it. Because you have to take it. Because you aren't sovereignty, so you don't own yourself. So you actually have to, because you got the baby there. So you don't even own the rights to the baby. Because you don't own the rights to yourself.
Right.
That's why you could go on child support, and that's why they could be a warden of the state. And that's why they could kill your kid if they want to, without any repercussions, because you don't own your kid.
That's why you got to go through custody battles like your kids are cattle.
The fact that you allow a third party to be able to make decisions for you. Okay. Let's talk about this Jesus shit though.
But he's coming to save us. What you talking about? Shoot, he coming back.
Right. Don't even matter. I gotta die.
His birthday is on Christmas, and you need to give him gifts.
No, I have to die for me to reach my heaven. That's what
But it's only 140,000 people that's going.
And I'm going.
How you gonna go? What if you are the 141 that dies that day?
That's not what I believe.
Then what?
That's not what I believe.
So what do you believe in?
I believe I'm going to heaven.
But the people that came and knocked on my door told me that only 140,000 people was getting into heaven. Like, I'm trying to understand. And it's been a whole bunch of people that done died before you. So where do you think you going?
Like I said, I'm going to heaven. So that's my beliefs.
How are you going to get there?
Oh, but read my Bible.
Are you going to ride on the Pegasus to get there? Because how are you going to get there? There's been over 141 people. I mean, I'm trying to understand how you're going to get there. Millions of people literally just died from COVID. And prior to that, millions of people died from the yellow jacket fever. And prior to that, people died from the Spanish flu. And prior to that, they died from measles and the mumps and syphilis and everything. How you think you gonna go somewhere?
What happened if some of this truth is gonna bring me depression? Okay, what happened if I bring my whole life on? I'm going to make it to heaven. I'm going to be the one of the 144. And then you hit me with some logical knowledge. Now I have to either stick to what the fuck I believe in, which is still, now it sounds stupid, or be delusional.
So what you're basically telling me is your cognitive dissonance is not allowing you to expand your mind, open your brain, and learn something new. Because you would rather stay like a cattle or sheep in a field waiting for the wolves to come get you. You mean to tell me, even though you went through grade school, possible pre-K or kindergarten through 12th grade, and you had to learn different elevations and different aspects and attributes of all these different sciences and applied Englishes and all those great things, you're comfortable with growing through an indoctrination system that's going to continue to keep you learning different things and teaching you that X plus Z equal A. But you can't expound your man to say, maybe, just maybe, there is something beyond what's being told to me. Maybe.
Because if I get to questioning this, I won't start questioning everything else about my reality.
Do I need to read Matthew 7:7 again? Seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For he that asketh, receiveth. It's Matthew 7:7. It's very clear. It's very clear. Because even when you think about it, right, you got some people that go on to higher learning, to higher school. You got some people that are good in chemistry, some people that are good in biology, some people that are good in trigonometry. They're still learning differences. So why would you not be able to open yourself to learn more?
What about the spiritual folks that say it's only 144 awakened gods here? Is there any correlation?
You hear the term 144, the awakened gods, right? They're just not one of them. Because if you knew what you knew, and if you actually dug into your human design and you did your gene keys, you would know more than just spewing out something that somebody else told you. That's not anybody that's tapping in. Just because you take shrooms doesn't mean that you tapped into higher consciousness. There is a specific design path that allows you to access certain levels of knowledge and certain levels of information. This is no shade, but people that also have Pisces placement stay in a dream state, and a lot of times you access the dream state instead of what it is. But I love y'all though. I'm just saying. Sometimes you really do have to cut off your consciousness in order to access the subconscious. You have to cut it off, shut it down, reboot it at a later time.
Now, is that a healed Pisces or unhealed Pisces?
That's a Pisces. Period. Dreamy, lofty. And a lot of times they can create a whole nother world. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they can create a whole nother world. And a lot of times, if those like of DMT start wrecking in their brain, they're going to go to that dream state that they have created if they're not careful of not being able to blend reality from dream state.
So
that's why they're so creative as well. That's why they're so creative. But at the same token, the Pisces is going to make up your entire relationship in their mind. And if the relationship don't go the way it went in their mind, it mean you did something wrong. And the relationship was bad. But it was all in their head. And they didn't even allow you to consent to what it is that they told you that they wanted you to consent to. But we ain't going to get into that. That's a whole nother story.
Is it not? Because you're going to have to dissect each sign. 12 disciples, zodiac.
Exactly. Yeah, just because you wear crystals and coppers does not mean that you're enlightened. Just because you say grand riding, peace, God, and everything else does not mean that you're enlightened. Just because you do yoni steams and you abstain from sex does not mean that you're enlightened. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Literally, it is in your human design. It is in your birth chart. It is literally in your gene key. It's in your gene. It's there.
Go do what you are. What you put here to do. Levels, young boy. We are the same though.
Who's all the same?
On the one Christ consciousness, we're all the same.
Who lied to you?
We're literally all one soul.
I love that, Mama Sunfire. Just because you could put people in jars and conjure does not mean that you're aware. I'm going to repeat. The gene key.